The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 elicits diverse opinions from users. On one hand, it's an engineering marvel that still draws attention and impresses viewers. On the other hand, it's criticized for not being significantly different from the previous model and for lacking the top-tier specs expected for its price. Whether these aspects matter, or if you should consider buying it, depends on your perspective. Gaining the right perspective requires thinking about the Galaxy Z Fold 6 differently from a phone like the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Samsung's Z Fold series has focused on making small changes, create a big impact for several generations, and the latest version continues this trend. The minor adjustments to the dimensions, screen aspect ratio, and weight may disappoint spec enthusiasts, but in real-world use, they make the phone more usable, comfortable, and manageable. You can compare the relevant specs elsewhere, so let's discuss the experience of using, holding, and living with the phone. The weight and dimensions of the Galaxy Z Fold 6 have been refined to the point where it feels less cumbersome to carry around than my iPhone 15 Pro Max in a case. I believe Samsung has improved weight distribution as well, as it feels wonderfully balanced in my hand, and the slightly altered 6.3-inch 120Hz cover screen has further improved one-handed use compared to the Galaxy Z Fold 5. However, if you genuinely want to use the phone with one hand, it can be a bit tricky. My preferred method is to cradle the closed phone with one hand while swipe typing and navigating with the other. When you open the phone, the 7.6-inch adaptive 120Hz screen is still as excellent as previous versions for games and video. It's also thin and quite light, making it comfortable to hold in front of you for reading. I love how versatile the Z Fold 6 is. It's much more durable these days. Its Armor aluminum frame, improved hinge, IP48 dust water resistance rating, Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and updates to the inner screen's protective layer. Plus, the size and weight are no longer as much of a hurdle. As for the crease on the screen, I know people notice it and understand that it's different from viewing an all-glass flat screen. But once there's color and activity on the screen, it blends into the background. I hardly notice it when swiping over the screen. And when I do, it's not uncomfortable or a hindrance. It's still there, but it has been minimized over the years, which neatly describes many of the hardware aspects that may have once been problematic for Samsung's foldable. This is where perspective comes in. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 is not perfect hardware, but don't be deterred by small quirks or outdated concerns that Samsung has worked hard to minimize or render almost inconsequential. Don't expect dramatic changes in the Z Fold 6 camera compared to the Z Fold 5. It features the same 50-megapixel main camera, 10-megapixel telephoto camera for 3x optical zoom, and 12-megapixel wide-angle camera on the back. The cover screen has a 10-megapixel selfie camera, and the open screen has a 4-megapixel under-display camera. It's not a competitor to the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but it can still take good photos. The camera produces typical Samsung photos with strong reds, greens, and blues dominating, and very capable HDR that makes them pop off the screen. Photos taken on sunny days are vibrant, colorful, and exciting, even if they aren't exactly what you see in real life. For many, this is exactly what they want. However, if you're serious about mobile photography, it won't satisfy you. Why? When critically analyzing Z Fold 6 images, the wide-angle camera produces lower quality images, especially in suboptimal lighting, and at any zoom level other than 3x, the photos are disappointing. Similar to the 4-megapixel under-display camera, lens flare with the main camera is quite common, but not always unwelcome. Overall, the camera performs well when you don't demand too much of it, but avid photographers will find it lacks the versatility and quality they desire. The camera app has some AI features, but they're nothing extraordinary. It can just about handle removing relatively simple shapes from photos, but anything with a busy or complex background ends up looking smudgy. The sketch-to-image feature turns rudimentary scribbles over photos into something more realistic. It's sometimes cute and enjoyable, but generally limited and unable to think too far outside the box. I can't imagine using it frequently beyond the initial experimentation phase. While the camera is good, but not amazing, The Z Fold 6 is easily one of the best phones for viewing and editing photos thanks to its large screen. It's much easier and quicker to isolate subjects you want to remove from an image using AI. It's better for seeing how different edits affect the overall image, and it's delightful to swipe through your gallery and admire the shots you've taken. The vibrant and striking camera makes the Z Fold 6 a dream phone for enthusiastic Instagram users, but not ideal for those seeking more accomplished and versatile camera hardware. Inside the Z Fold 6's folding panels is a 4400 mAh battery, the same capacity as the one in the Galaxy Z Fold 5. I've not been overly impressed with its performance, as I often find myself wondering where all the battery life has gone. It seems to be a one-day battery phone. I don't think it should be this way, and it could potentially be an efficiency issue, as the Z Fold 6 doesn't seem to enjoy working hard, which is at odds with other Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 phones I've used. For example, a 1-hour video call takes 18% of the battery, and 30 minutes of Asphalt Legends Unite drains 11%. A 30-minute YouTube video at 2160p consumes only 4%, and I don't notice as much excessive drain when browsing Chrome or Reddit, suggesting the phone isn't as efficient as it should be when handling power-intensive tasks. Apart from a little heat buildup around the camera, the back of the phone doesn't get hot when playing games. Overall, I find that about 2.5 hours of general use screen time consumes 50% of the battery, giving you at most 5 hours of screen time a day, provided you don't play games. This is quite frustrating, as the Galaxy Z Fold 6 should be a great product, and one day of use may not be enough for power users. However, I am only a short time into using the phone, and Android does take time to optimize itself to your usage, so battery life may improve somewhat over time. This is an overall positive review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, as it's a very good foldable smartphone, and one that's so easy to live with that you can buy it with little worry. However, I know some people will have issues with it. It's not very different from the Z Fold 5, and it's not even a top-spec phone for the price. Considering these factors, it's fair to expect more than 12 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, faster wired charging, a better camera, and even an S Pen stylus, especially since you'll be paying at least $1,900 for the Z Fold 6. Unfortunately, if you want the Z Fold 6 to be the ultimate flagship, it just isn't that. What it is, though, is a delightfully refined, supremely capable phone that perfectly showcases the still incredible folding technology and two-in-one convenient. You won't be disappointed if you understand what it is and what it isn't. The Z Fold 6 is a flagship smartphone in terms of design and engineering, with an emphasis on media and productivity. I don't think it's meant to be seen as a folding Galaxy S24 Ultra or a reimagining of the now defunct Galaxy Note series, which it sometimes seems to be compared to. It's more like a folding Galaxy S24 Plus, and understanding this makes it easier to accept the shortcomings of the specs and the fact that it's very close to being a repeat of last year, as long as you can stomach the price. Open or closed, the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is very good indeed. The new dimensions make it completely usable with almost no compromises when the phone is closed. And with the screen open, iPad mini-like size means I reach for my tablet or laptop less often. It's a dual-use smartphone that, depending on your personal needs, could truly be your one and only mobile device. The problem is that the same can almost be said for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. We're still at a point where no foldable is boring, but this is still a minimal update compared to the last, which was itself a minimal update, though the hardware alterations do make it a better phone to use and own. It's also still really expensive, even more so this year, and the slow charging, short battery life, and strong but not best-in-class specs make it even harder to justify the price. Is that still enough to recommend it? Absolutely, but mostly if you haven't taken that first step into foldable phones yet. This is another important perspective for someone entering the foldable phone world. And if that's you, I know you're going to love it. We should all rejoice that finally you can join the foldable phone world without worrying about all those pesky early issues. However, if you already own a recent Z Fold phone, you probably don't need to buy this one. And that's a bit of a shame. If you've already bought one, share your experience in the comments section below. See you all in the next one, and until then, there.